Hey everybody, Goosebumps for Dummies here, back at again with another video. This time talking about my friends, I lack that, IRL, call me Monster. And, I can see why I'm a fucking terrible person. But besides that, the actual book here we have today is one I read when I was very young, I believe, like 1st or 2nd grade. And this was one I remember really liking. So, I had decent-ish hopes going into this one. I thought I'd just like it, and it turns out this one kind of surprised me in a very welcoming way. Yeah, I have really nothing else to say besides this is definitely inspired by egg monsters or something, because it has some very similar stuff. I mean, straight from the cover, you can see a green egg, just like in the Egg Monsters cover, but it has some similarities to the actual book. So, let's get into the blurb. An egg sighting mystery. Ugh. Very bad joke. A teacher or a creature? That's more like it. Michael Monroe is learning a few new lessons in school this week. Never trust a teacher who believes in monsters. Don't even think about entering her house. No shit. Oh, trusted adult. Fuck you. Anyways. And stay away from the giant egg in her attic, especially if it's about to hatch. This won't be over easy. What could be worse than a monster egg? An entire theme park filled with monsters. But that's not the only surprise. Soon Michael and his friends will discover shocking new secrets about Horrorland Theme Park. Game, prizes, creatures, www.horrorland.com, yada yada. And all that cool shit from the 2000s, late 2000s when they released the series. Now, not spoiling my thoughts on what I like in this this book really shocked me of how much I enjoyed it. And this goes without saying, egg monsters. I think you can draw how much I fucking like this book. Yes, it is very similar. No, it's not as good. But it is right the fuck up there with Egg Monsters. So, yeah, this one is one of my personal favorite books from the modern era and Goosebumps as a whole. This one, yeah, I absolutely love it. I had everything I love from that book, but with some twists that really shocked me in a good way. And also, not even half bad characters, too. And yeah, let's get into my upsides. So what did I love about this book? Well, we had the main character called Michael Monroe. And obviously, Michael's an awesome name. Michaels are notorious for being giga-chads. But besides that, his nickname is Monster, which I immediately found really cool. But not just dick-sucking on that idea. He's actually a good character. Not only is he actually very tech-savvy, like he can create shit. Let's say, this is an example from the book. He uses a dog whistle to control blinds. It's fucking crazy. And I really like that aspect of his character. And it's very unique. I've never seen any Goosebumps character who's been able to pull that off, so that already gives him an advantage. He's also just kind of a fun character to read about, even if he is an asshole at times and seems to be a dick. He's still funny. And by the end of the book, he is redeemed because he does some very good act, I'll say. And that very good act is stopping an alien invasion. Yeah, this is an alien book, in case you're watching this, not caring about spoilers. Oh my god, yeah, just like in Egg Monsters from Mars. I'm not spoiling shit for you, alright? It's in the title. You may or may not have some aliens, alright? And, I really like the aliens here. They're, like, right up there with the actual Egg Monsters from Egg Monsters and Mars, because these guys, I don't think they're actually red in the book. I'm not quite sure. I think they were just as green as the eggs. I imagine to be red because I don't care. Besides, I'm more used to that. These monsters are very gross creatures and also very cool because they do some nasty shit down in the basement of this teacher's house. And I really like these species, and I really like the idea of them coming to Earth and having to breed. Don't get inappropriate here, right? And create an army. And there's a commander of this army who can transform herself into human using eggs. You know, more egg monster connections. There's fucking eggs in a book with a very similar premise. I found the egg mechanic to be pretty interesting. Not the greatest thing, like there could have been something better in its place, but I absolutely like it. It leads into a certain scene where Michael Monroe turns into one of these monsters, because it can be reversed, or turn you into one, basically. Very weird. And I really like these eggs, like I said, and I really like where this leads. It may or may not lead into one of the most interesting segments in all of Goosebumps, where this kid gets trapped in the basement of all these egg monsters, goopy, slimy lizard monsters from outer space, and, he's one of them too. It gets weird. His friends may or not break in. From here on out, the book is just a giant chase scene, and I love where this goes. I really like the idea of this twist where the principal may or may not be involved in all this of their school, the new principal, which was teased. I called it from the beginning, man. He was randomly thrown out there with a description and everything. When you do that in a Goosebumps book, it's like 99% of the time leading up to something. Unless it's Dr. Maniac, we'll see you now. We're reviewing that eventually. Anyways, yeah, I really liked that twist in there, and it lead into a very interesting scene where they may or may not stop the alien invasion involving another giant egg. Speaking of giant eggs, I think it's a very interesting way to introduce these monsters. And that's what kind of unsparked the mystery, is why the hell does this teacher have a giant egg in their attic? Sorry, in her attic, not their attic. Kind of there, because she has multiple living beings in her house. Anyways, why is this here? I think that idea was really cool. Even if it is stupid, it's funny. And it had a stupid scene attached where she sits on the egg, and it's kind of goofy, which is what I like about Goosebumps books. They're goofy and scary, because what comes out of this egg is a fucking monster from another planet. And I really like that. There's also a very interesting mechanic of break-in. So I guess there's that in a Goosebumps book. And when there's break-ins in Goosebumps books, you don't see them commonly, but they're a welcome surprise. These kids break into the woman's house to play a prank on her, because they don't like that teacher, which is what leads into Michael Monroe being an asshole, though he does get saved by the end of the book, because, you know, he's not a complete dickhead if he's actually stopped an alien invasion. And besides, sometimes asshole characters can be fun, and this is no exception. But yeah, I really like this idea of the giant egg. I liked all the funny shit Michael Monroe was pulling off in the first, like, 30 pages. And yeah, I really like this story, and I love aliens. Aliens are pretty goofy in Goosebumps, and when they're done right, unlike in You Gotta Believe Me, you know, that short story from Tales Book 2, yeah, they can be fantastic, and this done it right. And another upside, the Horrorland segment. It's damn near perfect, almost as good as the main story. It actually gets the plot going of the Horrorland books, finally, because we've had this Horrorland segment in 6 different books prior to this, and they all led up to basically nothing. Like, it's just, okay, introduce a new kid, now we're here. This one, they actually attempted to do something. Like, this is the first of the first 7 books to actually attempt to do something, and that's what really brought up the score. I like the interactions between all the characters here, and I thought it was just a genuinely good segment, because not only did it start up the plot, it was very fun, and had an interesting scene involving the Horrorland basement. Yeah, really like this. And, yeah, that's all I have to say for upsides. Let's move on to the downsides. No downsides, really. I had to say anything at all. I would say maybe the pacing in the first 50 pages of this book could have been a bit faster, because there's a lot of, you know, just, Michael Monroe pulling pranks on his teacher, getting punished for it. It's fun, it's entertaining, it has a lot of good stuff attached to it that comes later on and builds up to nice stuff, and it's forgivable, but, it could have been a little faster, alright? Could have picked up the pace, maybe you could have had that climax to get more of the page count, like maybe you could have, you know, made that in 40 pages instead of 50, where all that happens. And, I don't know, you could have sped that up a little, Stine, if you actually did write this. I'm sure he did. And yeah, let's move on to the rating. This is a plain and simple 10 out of 10. There might be that one issue, and that's just if I had to say anything that was bad about the book, and I would just give it a 9.9 if then, because it isn't a huge issue that bothered me, because it's still very fun. Yeah, this book was pretty freaking awesome. It was damn near perfect, right up my alley, and had everything I wanted in a Goosebumps book about aliens. It has some goofy alien shenanigans, it has a good mystery, a good climax, and some dumb, goofy, fun stuff thrown in there that's also scary at the same time. My type of fucking Goosebumps book. Kind of like Brain Juice. Yeah, so, I might even put this in my top 10 of all time, but that's stretching it. It might get moved up and down. Currently, it's somewhere around that area, top 20, I'll say, in that margin. It's definitely getting a very high placement on the ranking whenever I get that video out for my Giga Can't Say That Second Word for Legal Reasons Goosebumps ranking. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I want to hear your thoughts on this book. This is probably a giant hot take, but of course this book was right up my alley, and it's just a darn good book. Even without the alien stuff, they could have completely removed that, so it was like an Australian species, and I would have give it like a 9 out of 10. So yeah, tell me what you think about this book below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.